Hello, my friends, and very welcome to our live stream. Before we begin, guys, just a couple updates, okay? A couple updates about Ukraine and from Ukraine, right? Just today, we learned that the US sanctioned around 100 companies related to the Russian military industry. As it was stated, Russia turned into a military economy where companies of each industrial sector contribute to the Russian aggression. So plenty of Russian companies were sanctioned, as I mentioned, around 100 of them, and it's a good news. Also, we have less optimistic news. Russians attacked Kryvyi Rih today, killing at least 6 people. And as far as we know, as of this moment, the rescue operation continues. Also tonight, the Russian terrorists used X-101 missile, or Ha-101 actually. It's not X, it's Russian Ha, with cluster munitions, and this missile was used against civilians. Missile with cluster munitions carries a bunch of tiny bomblets that explode. Sometimes they explode after some time, and it's a nasty thing. Also, the General Staff of Ukraine published photos of the Ukrainian defenders hitting Russian air defense in Belbek, occupied Crimea, Ukraine. 2 batteries of S-400 launchers and 1 battery of S-300 were obliterated by the long-range weapons. And the last one, Mr. Stoltenberg, stated that all NATO countries will oblige to supply weapons to Ukraine, which is great. So we have some sort of mixed news today. Unfortunately, not all the updates were optimistic, but anyways. Okay. So very, very welcome to our new show called Vivisection. You know, when I was a young boy, I had this dream of becoming a biologist or a doctor. You know, I wanted to do some beautiful things, maybe save lives. And of course, one of the methods to study biology, which is one of the most effective methods at the same time, one of the most horrifying, is vivisection, of course. But because I'm against hurting animals, those beautiful creatures, I decided to dissect some different kind of creatures. And here we have Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's start with her, shall we? So this one brought me some lols, of course. Let's dissect this one. From the very beginning, I have never voted for a single penny to Ukraine. Literally, I had no doubt, like, seriously, but trust me, you're not the biggest asshole, okay? Zelensky's thug regime has deemed me an enemy of the state, and for good reason. Of course, the reason was good. Like, nobody has doubts about it. But the reason you became the enemy, and guys, let's clarify this, okay? Is Marjorie Taylor Greene considered an enemy for Ukrainians, by Ukrainians, right? Well, guess what? If you root for killing people like Ukrainians, if you root for stopping supplies to Ukraine so Ukraine cannot defend itself, and basically you call to kill a nation, then somehow, unexplainably, you become their enemy. I don't really know how it works, but it kind of does, right? Makes sense, at least. Zelensky has never had one single American vote for him. Oh, really? Not only I am a Ukrainian enemy of the state, but I'm banned from Russia. I have no idea why you are banned from Russia. I believe that if you go to Russia, you will feel like home. Trust me. Don't try Xi. You will have a severe case of diarrhea, but other than that, you will be fine. All they care about is taking our money and our weapons. Well, of course, because we have to protect ourselves somehow. And one of the reasons is that in 1994, when the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia were promising security guarantees to Ukraine, apparently they had something to back their words with, right? But I just assume. Zelensky is the real enemy of democracy. Oh, no, wait. They put elected members of Congress like me on their state kill list. Trust me, you don't want to be on the Ukrainian state kill list because if you are, you would not be writing this. Okay, a lot of Russian collaborationists can confirm. Zelensky is the real enemy of the. I don't understand why they hate Zelensky so much, but basically I do understand. It's because Putin hates him so much. He has cancelled elections, cancelled freedom of speech, cancelled freedom of religion, and cancelled freedom of the press. This one is really, really interesting. So, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't care about freedom of speech, like whatever. I bet she doesn't care also about elections. One of the reasons is that in Ukrainian constitution, it's written, and it's been written there for quite a while, that in the wartime state, right, in the state of war, there are no elections because there are much more important things, right? And another thing, I really hope Marjorie can answer how Ukrainian prisoners held in Russian prisons can vote. For example, if even the International Red Cross cannot reach them in the Russian prisons. That is a good question. How people that were deported from Ukraine to Russia can vote there, right? How can millions of Ukrainian refugees vote? It's a really, really hard topic, and I doubt that MTG has an answer to that. Nobody has, right? So regarding freedom of religion, because I think, religion is her main the main thing that brings her like butt hurt, right? Because recently MTG, during her speech, she compared Trump and Jesus Christ. I shit you not. And she also called Jesus Christ a convicted felon, which is like basically gives you some imagination, right? What her real faith is. Like, I would not do that. I decided to check, and look what I got here. Oh my god, this is a website of Muslim Center in Ukraine. It's in Ukrainian though. Unfortunately, it's not in English. No, but I can. Here in the top you can find this website. Oh wait, it's Ukrainian. Here it is. Religious Administration of Muslims in Ukraine, and those guys have news. Here you can see minivan delivering humanitarian aid. They often update their website. You can find their communities all over Ukrainian Facebook and other. By the way, this is Vika. Oh my god, don't run away. This is Vika. She's my good friend. Somehow in this Nazi Ukraine with like complete oppression of religion. Muslims feel okay, right? Somehow they survive and do their things. How can it be possible in the Nazi Ukraine? I have no idea. So what we have here? Oh, so this is a Federation of Jewish Communities of Ukraine. They also have their page in the English language, luckily, right? Assistance of the Federation in wartime, and you can read all of their. Here they have charity to the Jewish population throughout Ukraine and Federation news. Let's check it out. Yeah, April 8, 2024. So it turns out that Jewish community and Muslim community are thriving in the wartime Nazi Ukraine. How can it possibly be true? Maybe like apparently someone is lying, right? And I believe that MTG has reason to spread bullshit. But that's not all, guys. I even found Ukrainian Rastafari Church. I shit this is true. This one doesn't have a website in English, unfortunately. Probably they will do it in the future. But again, here we have Nyabingi Rastafari. They have information about them, what they want, and things like that. Rastafari in Ukraine. It's cool. I would join this church. I would really do. But look at this. What do we have here? And let me hide this annoying camera so you could enjoy this with me. So here we have Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Ukrainian Orthodox Church is a new name for the Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine. Previously they were called Jason Lee, cannabis is legal in Ukraine. It is. Previously, they were called Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Moscow Patriarchate, but then they changed their name to just Ukrainian Orthodox Church. But they are Moscow Patriarchate. That is the church, my friends, that according to people like MTG and other degenerates, according to them, Ukraine has completely banned this church. They don't really understand that in Ukraine we don't ban churches. Of course, we can raid some kind of headquarters of pro-Russian forces, spreading propaganda, misinformation, calling to collaborate with Russian invaders, justifying Russian aggression against Ukraine, and things like that. Of course, we can arrest Russian spies, but of course we cannot ban the church, we cannot ban the faith, because it doesn't work like that. So let's return to the Russian church in Ukraine, all right? What can I see here? It's 12th of June 2024. And this news says that on 12th of June 2024 in Spaso-Preobrazhensky Monastery in Kняжичи of Brovary region of Kiev Oblast, Russian church had a mass, right, a service, a sermon, to call it properly. And the same day they published new update that they call not to let the LGBTQ march to be held in Kyiv. And the same day also they update their website. Apparently they are still active in Ukraine. Oh my god, how can this be possible? we thought that the Russian church was indeed banned in Ukraine, but here they are, and what they also do. Here, for example, they say that there was a sermon for mourning a defender and hero of Ukraine, soldier Dmitsky Mikhail Mikhailovich. So in this Russian church, they were they had a sermon to honor a Ukrainian soldier. Oh my God! Really? Marge, why the hell do you lie? Why the hell do you spread complete bullshit on your official Twitter with your several million subscribers? It's insane. And, unfortunately, there are people who will trust her only because she is MTG. Like, she said so. Like, MTG said that the churches in Ukraine are banned. And yeah, MTG says, like, for example, go pay money, like, to Trump, and people will be like, yeah. But let's return to our other specimens, right? I didn't dissect much this very specimen, right? But we have some more. And right away, we have no other than Danny Haifang. This young man, unfortunately, I think he ditched school when they had their history lessons because he doesn't understand shit. The United States could have prevented the Ukraine conflict by negotiating with Russia in good faith. Okay, why would they negotiate with Russia if before launching the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Putin, Lavrov, Peskov, and everybody else in Russia were saying that they were not gonna invade Ukraine? Can you please explain me the logic? Why would they negotiate to prevent this conflict if Russia assured that there will be no conflict? That's a good question, but you cannot really answer it if you don't really understand what happens on the other side of the planet, if you ditch school when you're a young boy and things like that. When given a choice, the United States always chooses war, said a dude sitting in the United States. Anyways, what else do we have here? China isn't a threat to US national security. Russia isn't a threat to US national security. Iran isn't a threat to US national security. Okay, so the other day, I remember there was some sketchy balloon flying over the United States. I believe it was launched from Mars, right? I believe Martians launched a balloon. Or was it made on Earth? Please remind me, I don't really remember this moment. Russia isn't a threat to the US national security. At the same time, they literally brought their fleet to Cuba in order to remind you, the Americans, that one of the most horrifying periods in their history, the Cuban crisis. Iran isn't a threat to US national security. So let me quote my Iranian friend. In Iranian schools, they before the lessons start, kids sing the song. I will later find it for you. They sing a song which is dedicated to Khamenei and revolution and shit like that. And they end the song with "America is the enemy," and this is taught, by their government. This is how their children are being educated in schools. Of course, you can bullshit yourself that regime of Khamenei is not a threat to US national security, but you can only fool like stupid people, okay? Don't fool everybody else, and don't think that majority of people are stupid. What else do we have here? NATO destroyed Yugoslavia. That's interesting. If he means that whole Yugoslavia is Serbia, then there might be a truth, to this. But on the other hand, as far as I remember, there were cases of ethnic cleansings that were conducted by Serbs who invaded independent countries after Yugoslavia collapsed and turned into a bunch of independent countries. And I remember that the United Nations, together with NATO forces, were actually helping to deblockade the cities such as Žepa, Srebrenica, that were blockaded by besieged by Serbs, and Russians, by the way, too. RDO-1, RDO-2, Ruski Dobrovolchеский отряд, were Russian voluntary groups that helped Serbs to conduct those ethnic cleansings. And by the way, Igor Girkin, also known as Strelkov, the dude that formerly was a Russian hero, and now he's in the jail, he also participated there. Learn history, please. Okay, don't embarrass yourself so much. I'm shocked that, there are people who even like such posts 1,200 times. Oh my god, that's amazing. Gaza is a US war. Just so you could understand, it's a US war. Okay. Ukraine is also a US war. I might be wrong, but I saw different flag on the tanks that were crossing Ukrainian border. They were like white, blue, red, and there were like those Z's and shit. Dude, like, what are you talking about? The US is directly or by proxy responsible for the mass death and destruction in those conflicts. So, another thing that I would like to understand, how can you possibly justify or legitimize the invasion of a different country? Ukraine never invaded Russia. It was the opposite. Russian tanks crossed Ukrainian border. Russians started killing Ukrainian civilians, bombing civilian objects, infrastructure. And I don't remember a single American tank that crossed Russian border. I don't remember, a single F-35, no matter what Shoigu claims, but I don't remember seeing F-35s in Ukraine yet, right? Ukraine is a US war. What an imbecile. Okay. Next up, the Soviet Union, and this is why I'm convinced that the dude literally missed like big chunk of his education in the elementary or like middle school, right? The Soviet Union and China defeated fascism in World War II. I'm not lying, here it is. The Soviet Union and China defeated fascism in World War II. I Googled. I really did. And I found no signs that China or Soviet Union were fighting in Italy. It was like quite the opposite. There were Italians fighting on the territory of Ukraine, right? That was occupied by Soviet Union prior to that. But I never found any trace of like Chinese or Soviets fighting in Italy against Italian fascism. It never happened. There are no evidence to this, no historical evidence. Maybe I'm wrong, of course. Maybe you can present me with some historical evidence that China and Soviet Union defeated Italian fascism, but I'm not a historian, but I studied this and I never found any traces of that. Maybe, just maybe, he he took fascism for Nazism, but that's just an assumption. No, of course he couldn't. He's a reporter. He's a clever guy, right? And of course, he doesn't mention anything about the contribution of the United States, the UK, Canada, because why should he even mention this? Apparently, like in the Normandy, they were like on a cruise, right? They didn't do anything special. Okay. What do we have next? Next, we have my favorite man. Ask anyone in Congress who plans to vote for billions more in Ukraine aid next week. How many Ukrainians have been killed so far? They'll have no idea. They can't even guess. Their intel briefers haven't mentioned it. Then ask, how can you fund a foreign army but not bother to know how many of its soldiers have died in the war you're paying for? Disgraceful. Okay, I never considered Tucker Carlson a stupid person. I considered him like a wrong man, right? He's wrong, in my opinion. But I never considered him like stupid. But I don't really understand the logic. Why should they be so much concerned about losses of the army they fund, they support? Of course, there must be concern because they must understand the level of the logistics and medical supplies to this army. Yes, I mean, it's like logical, right? But I don't understand why this must be the reason to stop supporting Ukraine. There's zero logic to this. Tucker, what the hell has happened to you? I bet that that trip to Russia wasn't really healthy for you and your IQ. I'm really, really sorry. What else do we have? Alexander Dugin is the most famous political philosopher in Russia. His ideas are considered so dangerous, the Ukrainian government murdered his daughter, and Amazon won't sell his books. We talked to him in Moscow. So, who is Alexander Dugin? Alexander Dugin is basically the same dude who made the ideology of Ruski Mir. The very same fascist ideology used by Russians, which clearly says that Russia is a supreme nation, that they must destroy West, that they have their own very specific God's chosen path, which of course sounds like a lot like ISIS, right? And that's why you won't find neither ISIS literature nor Dugin's literature anywhere on the Amazon. But of course, I have no doubt that Tucker Carlson talked to him in Moscow. I really, really hope that one day Tucker Carlson will have opportunity to talk to some ISIS representatives as well, right? Because their philosophy is considered so dangerous, so you cannot find their books. Oh my God, what a shame. All right, next up, the defining features of a pagan society are slavery and human sacrifice, so it shouldn't surprise us to see their resurgence in a post-Christian America. So tell me this, is calling to hate, or let me rephrase this, is hate speech towards a different religion considered a crime in your country that is known for being free, for for freedoms, freedoms of religion, freedoms of speech? Is hate speech like considered a crime? That's a good question, my friend. What makes you different from fascists that oppose different religions? That is another good question. And this is the culmination of dissecting Tucker Carlson. In the late 1960s, government bioweapons labs started injecting ticks with exotic diseases. Soon people nearby began to get those diseases. Now tick-borne Lyme is endemic. Naturally, the government has admitted nothing. So, first of all, government taught grizzly bears to eat humans, okay? Government trained elephants and hippopotamuses to attack people in Africa as well. Like information 100%. Also, government created cellulite on your ass. I give you 100%, I guarantee this. Oh my God. Where did you freaking learn that? May 10th, 2024. You've been to Russia already. This is so much like, that bullshit about genetically modified ducks, mosquitoes, deathly diseases created in American/Ukrainian biolabs to kill Russian people. Don't go to forest, Tucker, okay? I'm scared for your life. You may get killed by, specifically trained wild animal. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, this is my favorite guy. The deal to end the war in Ukraine. This is the guy that is known as Canadian government in Montreal. The motherfucker, learn where Canadian government in your neighboring country is located on the first place, and then probably talk about geopolitics. But anyways. The deal to end the war in Ukraine should be this, says military expert and geostrategist, famous geostrategist Dave Smith. Putin ends the war immediately, and Putin ends the war immediately. It's so easy. You just gotta ask Putin, end the war. And Putin just, oh my God, I'm fighting 840 days in Ukraine. Maybe Dave, you're right. I should probably just stop the war. Why didn't I think about it on the first place? I'm so stupid, Dave. Oh my God, you're such a great man. Putin ends the war immediately and pulls all forces out of Ukraine. Okay, no comments. Right? I don't know what to comment here. He keeps Crimea. That's happening no matter what. In exchange for this, the US immediately leaves NATO. So, according to famous military expert and geostrategist Dave Smith, the condition to end this war immediately is to give Crimea to Putin. Tell me this. What's happening to Crimea for the past 10 years? I believe that Putin already annexed Crimea in 2014. Am I wrong? Or you just missed this fact accidentally? Oh my god. Jesus, commenting on Dave Smith is the most horrible thing, the most horrible experience I had since yesterday. If you support Ukraine joining NATO, then you support the US fighting a hot war with Russia right now. Okay, another question. Again, maybe I missed something. I don't know. But tell me this. When have Ukraine been promised to be accepted into NATO? I remember we worked hard on it, but since 2008, no matter what we did, nobody wanted to accept Ukraine in NATO. Germany refused, the US refused, everybody were like, meh. Yesterday, President Biden also said that Ukrainian future must be secured from Russia to make sure that Russia never attacks Ukraine anymore, but it doesn't mean that Ukraine should join NATO. You have some problems, this is my opinion, of course, sorry if I'm wrong, but I think you have some issues regarding NATO. It's very bad, find a doctor. It's gotta be a tough time for these NATO losers. Oh, NATO grilled your ass, my friend. I'm not surprised. Your constant claims of you love Putin were too stupid for anyone to take seriously. I also think that you do indeed love Putin and you are a pro-Russian motherfucker. If you are not, please prove it, because everybody see absolutely the opposite picture. The US war machine never loved you. They were just using you. You ugly NAFO. And now they found a new bitch. Apparently he's talking about Israel/Gaza. And now they found a new bitch. It's over. You knew what this was, Ukraine. So he sincerely believes that the US, played a bit with Ukraine and Russia, and then they're like, oh, there's another war, and they rushed and started investing massively in that war, Ukraine. Nobody cares about Ukraine anymore. You are so wrong. And the very fact that Ukrainians are roasting Russians massively in the area of Kharkiv, in the area of Kurakhova, and other places you have never heard about, but you know so much about it, proves absolutely opposite thing, my dear friend. Okay, what do we have next? Oh my god, I like this so much. I should have done this earlier, my friends. RFK is okay, let's stop this here. RFK. As far as I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, RFK is the same Mr., right, who said that he said something like, if you drink bad water, it turns you into a transsexual. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think I read something like that. RFK is sharing pieces from blah, 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 says free markets are the answer to climate change. Free markets are the answer to climate change. So we're denying the climate change. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Okay. opposes funding the war in Ukraine and opposes all vaccine mandates. What can I say? RFK is your guy. You found each other. The fifth specimen that I wanted to dissect today, my friends, was supposed to be Elon Musk. And, I surfed through his most recent statements, and most recent statements were made several months ago, and everything was already discussed and stuff. But, I opened his Twitter, and first thing I saw was this. I mean, yeah, guys, I know it's freaking silly, okay? Like, I should not laugh at this, but like, hearing this from a person like Elon Musk can literally destroy you. My dream is to reach Ukraine. Oh, you go for it, man. You absolutely go for it. I know I'm not supposed to laugh at it, but it's funny as hell. I'm sorry, I served in the army. Okay, so this was just a tiny collection of individuals involved into spreading Russian narratives all over the Western countries, and they have millions and hundred thousands of subscribers. And of course, it's our duty to expose their bullshit and make sure that whatever they say will have a counteraction, because words are weapon, and Russia uses this weapon against the civilized world using either voluntarily or involuntarily involved useful idiots. So please let me know in the commentaries what you think about it, and if you have other specimens that you want me to dissect in my next episode, please let me know, guys. Of course, I'm not saying goodnight to you yet, because we have some questions, I believe. All right. Oh my god, don't run away. Oh, why did you do this to me? Love this stream formats. I love you too. Thank you so much. I enjoy it. I literally do. Let's see some of the questions. Oh my god, there's so many of them, guys. I'm really sorry if I'm not able to answer every and each of your questions, but was Jesus a 34 times felon too? I don't think so, but I also don't think that Jesus was sleeping with like porn stars. Porn stars. I don't remember anything like that. Blah blah, let's see Ukraine have elections when. So I believe that as soon as we are sure that these elections can be democratic, unlike in PIDA Russia, then we will have them. And until we are attacked and invaded, and our citizens don't have much opportunity to vote, which you don't really care about it anyways, right? Like, you don't really care about transparency of elections, about democracy, whatever. Why do you even fucking ask? Okay. I hope this answers your question. Russia is lying. please provide just one time he ever lied. Oh my god, where do I start? Oh. Okay, let's start from the beginning. 2003, Putin signed agreement with the Ukrainian President Kuchma recognizing Ukrainian borders and Crimea, and he said that Ukraine is a sovereign country with Crimea included. Only 19 years later, he said that no fucking way, like a half of your territory belongs to Russia, and he invaded Ukraine. Before he invaded, he spent a month promising that he's not gonna invade Ukraine, but somehow he broke his promise. All right, that's just a couple examples. Why is Tim Pool on a Ukrainian kill list? Is he? Is he? I gotta check this person and then I will tell you. Okay. What do you know about Lauren Boebert and another being on a Ukrainian hit? Oh my god, I don't know. There is no hit list, guys. Nobody wants to kill them, but at the same time, are they considered enemies after calling, to kill Ukrainians? Well, apparently, yeah. I don't know why, but apparently, yeah. If you want somebody to die, then somehow, through some processes I cannot explain, you become their enemies. It works like this. Sounds absolutely unlogical, right? In the US, we can criticize a sitting congressional representative without fear. How about those potatoes, MTG? Yeah, good question. How is Jewish life in Russia? Well, not really. You remember the last time in Dagestan they were searching for Jews in the airport. I don't think it's a really safe place for them right now. That's just my opinion. Where can I get one of those orc FSB party hats? I wish I knew it myself. This topic is one question I had, so this is perfect. How is the Ukrainian church doing? Ukrainian church is doing great. No matter what kind of church you're asking about, Muslim church, Jewish church, Christian church, Buddhist church. Do we have Buddhist church, by the way? I know that we have guys who worship Krishna. There's a lot of them in Kiev. Guys, we have all kinds of them. Scientologists, like whoever you like. We have full scope of religions in Ukraine and its effects, no matter what the generals are trying to say. Okay. How do you feel to refer to MTG as honorable? Very, very bad. I feel very, very bad. I feel awful. So why are we worried about nukes if they're no threat? Because this is how they work. You should worry about nukes. This is their purpose, to make you worried. My question is, will people be worshipping Trump as martyr in 2000 years? I highly doubt that. Who is this Hypong dude? Never heard of them. Well, now you do, and yeah, who is this Danny Hypong loser? So he's like miniature copy of Jackson Hinkle. He promotes all kinds of terrorist shit in the US. He promotes their narratives like North Korea, China, terror, Russia, Iran. He's one of those guys, okay? But there were always such people in any country in any given period of history. I thought Ukraine is responsible for Gaza war. Of course it is. Of course. Okay, maybe America should just apologize to Russia and let Russia win. No, Jason, America should just ask Russia to stop. Okay, one thing that makes the situation very, very cringy, especially in the case of Mr. Canadian government in Montreal, aka Dave Smith, is that they never tried. Like, you can ask Russia to stop, and maybe Russia stops, but you never know until you try. It's a good opportunity for, like, at least an attempt to do it, right? If you're truly a peacemaker, if you truly want peace, if you want to end this conflict, please call Russia to stop the aggression. Or it will just prove that you are a pro-Russian motherfucker and Ukrainian hater. Can you say why President Zelensky went to Saudi Arabia? Unfortunately, I cannot. I think that he will say it himself, because even though yesterday he was in Berlin, I didn't see him. I couldn't ask him about his future plans, even though I invited him, right? I prepared coffee and chips and burgers, but he's too busy. Was China fighting in World War II? Apparently, China was fighting in the World War II. They were invaded by militaristic Japan. They were, as far as I remember, they were losing badly, and they were cooperating with the United States. If you remember the Operation Doolittle, it's when American bombers bombed the heck out of militarist Japan, and because they were launched from the aircraft carriers and they had nowhere to land, they landed on the Chinese-controlled territory. So China indeed was involved in this. They fought against against militaristic Japan. I don't remember them fighting in, like, Italy against fascists. In Germany? No, not really. What I remember, though, is that Chinese were involved in the invasion of Ukraine. So when Bolsheviks invaded Ukraine, there were quite a few Chinese volunteers fighting for Bolsheviks, for Bolshevik and Russian invaders. And they were the ones who conducted so-called prodrazvyorstkas in the Ukrainian villages. It's when they would come to a Ukrainian villager and take his cattle, take his grain, take his bread. That's a true story. It's like historical fact. That is something I do remember. Who dropped the bombs on Japan? Was it China or Soviet Union? I think it was Danny himself. Were there conflicts at the German-China border? Exactly. Why do the losers bring up Bandera like it's important to anyone in the world? I literally have no idea. Because, for example, when losers tell me about Bandera, one thing I instantly remember, right? And I have this association. Is Russian-German parade in Brest, in the occupied Poland. So here, for example, you can see uh, brave Russian officers saluting to the Nazi flag in the occupied Poland. Oh my God, how can it be possible? Well, it turns out that Bolshevik Russia, that Soviet Russia, and Hitler's Germany were allies at some point of history. This is something Russians don't really like to remember. They would rather remember some other shit, but the shit that they were involved in, right? But I think that this is absolutely incredible picture. Um, so now you know something to remind Russians as well, right? Okay. Which country you'll choose for political asylum? Hmm. I've never thought about it. Probably Russia. Just kidding. Um, However, when Russian liberation troops, and I'm talking about the Russian freedom fighters fighting against Putin's regime, remove uh, Putinoids and take control in Russia, and Russia finally becomes democratic, I would definitely visit this place. Probably. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. I just wonder when America is finally gonna wake up and silence the propaganda that we're being fed. Yeah, this is the number one question because apparently we lost the moment when we had to react. We had to react to the Russian propaganda like not like yesterday, but the day before yesterday. We didn't do that. And that is the reason why today we have this stream. And this is the reason why other YouTubers that stand against totalitarian regimes also stream instead of, I don't know, playing computer games. I will tell you one embarrassing thing. Like, seriously. Today I made an attempt to make like a video for my different channel that I consider creating because as a matter of psychological rehabilitation as well as a good way to waste good time. Sometimes I play Microsoft Flight Simulator and I have this road from Germany through the UK and through Iceland and Greenland and Canada and the United States towards Peru because I want to fly over the Nazca lines and see those beautiful giant geoglyphs there because they are on the map. They are in the game as well. And I did like this very, very cringy attempt to record a video. Unfortunately, it failed completely. I don't know if I should do it again. Please let me know. Because there's a lot of good channels dedicated to flight simming. There's Two-Tone Murphy. I think he's streaming right now, or was he? There's Belato42, there's AV Angel, and other great guys. And I always watch their videos and enjoy them so much. Which government is teaching wild animals to attack people? There's only two governments. There's American government that teaches grizzlies to kill people, and there's Ukrainian government that teaches ducks to kill Russians. Everybody knows that. If there are killer mosquitoes, why does Ukraine need drone? Killer mosquitoes. Imagine if we had killer mosquitoes, like for real. That would be so cool. Those American biolabs are in Wuhan, right? Could be. Why not? Would Putler have invaded if Ukraine still had their nukes? Absolutely not. They would absolutely never invade Ukraine. But at the same time, Ukraine gave up its nukes because there were countries that promised us security guarantees, because we understood that this can lead to like bad relations with our partners. Because again, guys, Ukrainian nukes were aimed at every single American state. I believe that they were aimed at the UK as well, at plenty of other European cities, right? They were not aimed by Ukrainians, they were aimed by Russian communists, of course. But Ukrainians realized that it's not the best way to make partnership, to improve partnership with your Western friends. Having like a bunch of nukes aimed at their cities at every given point of time, like Russia does, for example. And this is why we gave up our nukes, and Russia, the UK, and the US promised security guarantees. Same thing happened with Kazakhstan, by the way. I hope I'm not wrong with this one. So it was our choice. We can criticize it. I don't really support nuclear weapons. I believe that the less we have those weapons on planet Earth, the better. But at the same time, somebody have to have it, because good, like forces of goodness, right? Karma must have fists. Good must be protected by people with fists. That's what I believe in. That's the reason I joined the army. Did anyone see the video of Qatar tourists complaining about poop on their flag outside their hotel room? It doesn't surprise anybody, especially nowadays. Has anyone asked these guys which of Russia's war crimes are their favorite? Was it the rape clinics or the child abduction? I wonder. That's a good question. And by the way, I think we should probably ask something like that next time we have a chance. Guys, you gotta keep it in mind. Will his starship circle Uranus? Look. Oh, guys, it cracked me up so much, because I was reading all that pro Russian bullshit. And then I open Elon Musk's Twitter. Apparently, he removed all mentions of Ukraine. I couldn't find them. But it was like, it was just a culmination. Russia was described by one of the Russian classics, by the way, as a chaos of shed and death. And this absurdity culminated in this post made by Elon Musk. Or at least this is the way I perceived it, but regarding Russian propaganda, are you familiar with Operation Infection, one of Russia's first huge propaganda operations? I don't think so. Maybe I know what you're talking about in a different language, but no, not this particular case. What would a RFK and Musk baby turn out like? I don't even want to imagine it. I don't want to have nightmares. Um, have you seen the interview with Scott Ritter where he claimed USA and France are helping Ukraine with nuclear drones? I think I did, and I'm still waiting to see this nuclear drone working. Because, I have never seen like an infected duck in Ukraine, no matter how hard I tried. I haven't seen a combat mosquito, and believe me, I tried. Uh, I'm still waiting to see a dirty bomb, but I haven't seen any other dirty bomb than like any given Russian Mobik, right? And same thing with the nuclear drone. Like, dude, so many time has passed already. Can you please show me this one? Uh, it is. I guarantee. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. Okay, this is a good idea. I will remember this individual for the next show. Are we having a beach party in Crimea when this is all over? Undoubtedly, my friend. I believe that half of the UK will be invited to it. Let's see when Russia have elections. Well, yeah, it's very, very cringy to hear, Russians criticizing Ukraine for not being democratic too much. Basically, when Russians and pro-Russians are talking about democracy, it's cringy by itself, right? RFK Jr. is using his famous name to market himself. Well, unfortunately, he does. I believe we were in the same situation. Yeah, it reminded me of Vyacheslav Chernovil and his son Taras. It's a very, very long story that maybe I will tell it next time. How many times did Muscovy deny they were going to invade Ukraine? 100 times? I think something like that, but considering the amount of fake accounts and bot farms that were involved into this, I believe it was like 100,000 times because, of course, every pro-Russian rupor was screaming that the West is just hysterical, nobody's gonna invade you. Like, 200,000 men training on border with Ukraine. Are you nuts? They're just like, they're collecting mushrooms, okay? You are imbeciles. We're not gonna invade. When did Putler ever tell the truth? When he ridiculed Tucker, maybe that once. Yeah. I agree on this one. Why did Ukraine not believe American intelligence prior to the invasion? I cannot talk from the standpoint of president and our management. I'm not on that level yet. Luckily. Believe me, there's nothing worse than being a state manager, state administrator, like a state employee in Ukraine. There's nothing worse than that, especially being a president, especially now. Why do you now celebrate Christmas at 24th September, but Eastern at a different time than Western? We do celebrate Christmas at 24th of December. Like, we really do. Eastern at a different time. Ah, the Easter. The Easter. Well, that's a mystery to me. I can never remember when we have Easter. I just trust the people who know more about it, right? Like guys that work in like churches. Leisure Cat. Hi Starsky, how are you doing today? Doing great. Watching a game, having a coffee. It wasn't funny. Okay, I admit it. I admit it. It wasn't funny. Um, is Hypong worth trying for a blocked trophy? You tell me. Do you expect to be able to recover any of the lost oblasts this year? So when we talk about lost oblasts, we're talking about Crimea, that is completely lost. We're talking about Donetsk, that is majorly lost, Luhansk partially lost, and Zaporizhia, Dnipro, Kherson, they are partially lost, even though on the Russian map they are completely attached to the terrorist federation, but they are not controlled by Russians completely. So there is, of course, a chance. And unfortunately, I'm not in the army anymore. I can only tell you what's happening and what may happen based on what's happening. And again, it's just I'm not Ben Hodges, okay. I have much less experience than Ben Hodges regarding planning, um, but I do my best, guys. Does Ukraine still try and show the Russian people what's really happening? In fact, we do. We have plenty of services like I Want to Live. This one is dedicated to Russian soldiers and their families. Russian families can contact this service and ask whether uh, their sons or husbands are uh, kept as prisoners of war, and they can find the way how to bring them home. They can also contact the service and ask what to do in order not to get their soldier, their relative, killed. And also, Russian soldiers can do the same. So, this service works. There's plenty of other services, but the problem with this is Russian media is a completely isolated environment. Again, Russians talk to their internal audience something very very different from what they tell to like Western audience, right? Western audience, you already saw what they're saying. They say that Russia is not the enemy, Russia is good guys, everybody else is bad. To their internal audience, they say that we should fucking bomb the hell out of like everyone. And at the same time, this environment is very isolated. It's very hard to reach to the Russian viewers. They don't watch YouTube in English. They watch different channels in Russian on a YouTube. Some of the social media used by you, by me, they are blocked in Russia, and it's really, really hard to reach out to those people. But we are doing our best, and there's a lot of efforts that we put into this. Unfortunately, I cannot talk much about it, but I know some things. Have you tried trading a regular supply of Russian chocolates for Crimea? No, I don't really like chocolates. However, Russian chocolates are not bad. as far as I remember. Do you hear pro-Russian messages from German people, or do they actively support Ukraine? And are people following events in Ukraine in Germany? Germans do actively support Ukraine, especially in the western part of Germany. They actively talk about it, and there are news about Ukraine every single day. In the car, I always listen to the local radio station. They talk about Ukraine every single day. But there's other issues. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't really understand the situation. My friend Angelika, if you're watching this, hello, hello. So she told me this story about her friend. I hope I can tell you. I hope I can tell this to our viewers. She was talking to a local guy in Bavaria, and she was saying that they're collecting fundraisers and buying stuff for the guys for Harley from EOD Ukraine. And they are contributing to demining effort in Ukraine. And the guy literally asked, why don't they call police to remove the landmines? So such situations happen. People they are not really involved into this. Yes, they hear about it, but they are not really involved into this as much as needed. Because one thing, again, they should realize is that Putin claims that he wants to return all the post-Soviet countries back to the Russian Empire, which unfortunately includes Eastern Germany. So this is something very, very dangerous that Germans should consider, of course. Will you go back to being a police now that your service is over? I do really miss those times, but I don't think I will return to anything related to like violence, besides boxing, of course, because I don't really know. Maybe it's psychological, but I don't really like first-person shooters, games like that. No. I would really, and today my partner asked the same. She asked, like, do you want to be a military instructor? Of course I can, and I spent several years as an NCO in my company training guys, but I would rather dedicate my time, I don't know, to saving nature, saving people who require help or protection, something like that, something useful. But then, of course, there are times when, oh my God, there are times when light must be protected by fists. And I think that there might be time when I will have to do it again. Who knows? Maybe Russia should just apologize to Ukraine and let Ukraine win. And this might work. I believe that people like, I don't know, MTG or whatever, or Dave Smith can literally ask Russia, and maybe it will work. Who knows? They never tried. That's the problem. Antonio Banderas? Yeah, that's the guy. Do you agree that Russian bathtub logistics, bathtub and rope to transport goods between trenches, is a symptom of the state of their logistics? I really do, because, considering the fact that they are not provided bathtubs, and Obviously, those bathtubs are being snatched from civilian houses and different ruins, basically looted. I believe it's a good indication of the state of the Russian logistics. Do you think Finland will ever return its Karelian isthmus after this war, perhaps? I really want to believe so. I really do, because there's so many territories annexed by the terrorist federation over the years, and so many nations that are still occupied by them. Today I talked about Russian schools. So, one of the bullshit that Russians like to spread is that Ukraine was oppressing Russian language in Ukraine. At the same time, the very first day Russia invaded Ukraine, there were 600 Russian schools in Ukraine active, and there were kids learning Russian language. At the same time, I don't believe there are Ukrainian schools in Russia whatsoever. I googled, I found zero, right? And I believe that the same picture we can see in other regions as well. I'm talking about like Buryatia, Yakutia, and other places. I haven't been there. Please prove me I'm wrong. I would like to see those schools, but if they're teaching Buryat kids the Buryat language, I would really like to understand why they don't teach Ukrainian kids Ukrainian language, which would be proper, right? And I'm talking about those kids that were forcefully removed from Ukraine and deported to Russia by the Russian war criminals. Why do Russians eat babies when they have plentiful food available? I've heard, I've never heard them eating them. I've heard about them like raping them. I've heard about them killing them and burying them in places like Bucha. Never heard about them eating babies. That's something weird. Would you have liked to be a pilot? I really would not, because when you're a pilot, you're attached to one specific type of airplane, unless you have a lot of money and you're making a fortune every single month, and you can basically fly this very stuff. Like if you have a flight simulator, you can fly whatever, Boeing 737. You can fly helicopter. Helicopters are the best. Is Ukraine training enough cyber experts to defeat Russian troll bot farms? We do, and we also cooperate with all kinds of security agencies around Europe and in the US as well. And also, there's a lot of, as always, in Ukraine, there's a lot of voluntary groups of IT experts, known as hackers in the literature, that also help our army, and they help our army big time. Sean Townsend, one of the guys that does a lot for our defenders, and they hack Russian systems all the time, and of course they also help to fight Russian bot farms. Unfortunately, it's very, very hard, guys, especially on platforms like Twitter. I will never call it X. Don't the mosquitoes carry the gay? They absolutely do. And this is something that Russians are afraid the most. They are afraid that they will be bitten by gay-inducing mosquitoes. This is the worst Russian nightmare. Why are Russian army obsessed with wash machines and toilets? I'm still asking this question like today, because I don't have answer. I always try to ask it like on Russian in Russian communities, Russian Telegram channels, in Twitter, of course, but they never answer this very, very simple question: why they snatch toilets from the ruined Ukrainian houses. It's a mystery to me. Like, I don't know, maybe you know the answer. If you learned the answer, please let me know as well. Have you hit the like yet? Asks Ali, our brave moderator. Yeah, guys, I would really, really appreciate if you liked and subscribed this stream. And please let me know if you like the overall format of such dissections. If you do, I would be really, really happy to stream as much as I can for you guys. When will all Russians leave Europe and go back to their superior motherland? The problem is, you remember that Dugin, that Tucker Carlson was talking about. Unfortunately, because of individuals like Dugin, Russians believe that everywhere, their motherland is everywhere. That is a problem. But for some reason, Tucker admires him. Why Starsky is so adorable? I think I think Hutch is more adorable than Starsky, though, but you might have a different opinion. Is Ukraine capable of producing its own S-300 or similar SAM missiles? I don't think so. But currently, we are using the Frankensams. So we're using our Soviet-built air defense systems with AIM 120 missiles. And it works. It works, my friends. Are you really learning German? Yeah, I do. I really do. Unfortunately, the progress is a bit slower than I anticipated, but I downloaded that Duolingo and it's amazing. Also, there's plenty of lessons on Deutsche Welle, and well, it's good. Deutsche ist fantastisch, aber stressig. But fantastic. So, any Ukrainian children being returned? Yes, they were. We already returned plenty of children, but unfortunately, as much as I believe something like 5,000 is still there. I'm really sorry. I had those numbers. It's really hard to search the statistics right now, but I have it there. And by the way, recently several more kids were returned. I believe just last week. I think I talked about it in one of my videos. Has Ukraine tried creating AI killer robots like in Terminator? There is like one limitation to using AI in machines like Terminator. As far as I know, I talked to guys that do those things, and unfortunately, this is what I've been told. How far off realistically is a Crimea offensive? Dear Cowboy, I think that Crimea offensive will start with Azov Sea offensive. Because if the land corridor to Crimea, from Russia to Crimea, is cut, then it means that the Crimea offensive is just a matter of time. And this operation will not take a lot of time. the problem with this is Russians built a lot of defensive layers there. There are so many mines that it's hard to comprehend. The problem is that Ukraine is currently the most mined country in the world. Guys, it's insane. And it was like that since like 2023, I believe. But even before that, there were plenty of mine fields in Ukraine since 2014 that were built also by Russian terrorists as well as Ukrainians, because we wanted to defend different positions from the advancing army that, again, Russians like to blame Ukraine for not following Minsk agreements. The problem is Russians never followed those agreements whatsoever. And one of the proofs is that 2019 we were in Svitlodarsk fighting against Russian assault groups every single day. We were on our positions. There were observers from OSCE, from the United Nations, and Russians were attacking every single day. Guys, I have so much footage from those times. So there were plenty of minefields, and this number grew tremendously in 2022, 2023, when Russians started organizing their defense lines in areas like around Mariupol, that direction, Tokmak, Kakhovka, and unfortunately, it will take a lot of effort and a lot of luck, right, in order to make this offensive effective without losing much troops and stuff. But in order to do that, again, we need combined arms. We need support of the aviation. You cannot imagine any NATO going in attack, without proper air support and proper artillery support. Nonetheless, this is exactly what we were trying to do, risking our lives since the beginning of Russian invasion. Because we didn't have enough airplanes, we didn't have enough shells, unfortunately. So when Ukrainians have all that, Russia is freaking doomed. Trust me. I guarantee. Do you think the Orc flotilla sailed to Cuba to pick up Medvedev's nose candy supply? I believe that they went to Cuba because they were afraid that their flotilla will be destroyed by the Ukrainian sea drones, sea babies. Fred, Starsky, are the Ukrainian people still behind Zelensky? What are the real numbers of deaths on both sides? Love you, man. Love you too, Fred. And the answer to your question, Russians are losing approximately 1 to 5, 1 to 8 men more than Ukrainians. The reason to that is, of course, their absolutely failing strategy, failing tactics. They are attacking the prepared positions, which, as we all probably understand, attackers that attack prepared positions always lose more men than defenders, and they require more men to take those positions. According to Russian field manuals, they require 3 to 5 times more men. The more, the better, right? And that's what we know so far. These numbers were delivered by Zelensky himself, by our representatives of our government. And if we, let's trust Putin one time, okay, it's when he said that Ukraine, lost 50 times more than us, which is something like, not let's not trust him right now, okay? I'm just quoting him. So Ukraine lost 50 times more than Russia, which is something like 1.7, 1.8 million people. That is insane, okay? So if we lost let's say 2 million people dead, it means that we have 8 million people wounded. Oh, really? But let's divide it by 50 and we will learn the approximate number of the Russian losses, because Putin knows the approximate number of their losses. Which is something that somewhat correlates with the numbers provided by the General Staff of Ukraine. So those are more or less realistic numbers. Favorite kind of cookie. I will need to use Google Translate for this, okay? Because I wasn't prepared. Translate. Okay, how do I translate this word if I don't remember it in Ukrainian? Oh, oatmeal cookies? Do you even have them? Okay, let me just show it to you. Tell me if you recognize it. This is oat cookies. I believe this is how you call them. I'm not sure though, but those are my favorite ones forever. Okay, I love them. I can eat tons of them. They're so good. Oh my god, guys, what are you doing to me? I'm literally drooling here. Does anyone know if there are Korean restaurants in Ukraine? Unfortunately, I cannot answer this question because I never really asked myself about it. I was never going to Korean restaurants in Ukraine, but I've heard about one in Kyiv. I never checked it, unfortunately, but apparently we do. Basically, I can tell you this. In Ukraine, we have all kinds of restaurants, except, Mexican cuisine is not really widespread in Ukraine, which should be fixed, right? We should do whatever we can to fix it, because nachos are so good. Give us your best advice on what stock on the stock market do you think will go up in 2025. My dear friend, unfortunately, I cannot answer this question. If you know, please let me know as well. It's a different channel. All right. OCT, hello, my friend. Oh my god, I'm screaming so loud. People are sleeping actually. Do you think reality is in a state of quantum superposition that awaits our intent to collapse the wave function and manifest? And if so, did it do it? I think it's not in the state of quantum superposition because you cannot have both events happening at the same time, but happening in a different way, unless you are schizophrenic. Not you personally. I'm talking, in general. Unless it happens, in the environment that cannot be observed. then it might be. Then it might be so. But that's just my opinion. So, okay. Guys, did you see the new flight simulator coming out? Richard, I saw trailer and like of course I'm gonna buy it, of course. But the problem is that it's announced to be released on November 2024. So Flight Simulator 2024, I would call it Flight Simulator almost 2025. Let's just not think about it because it makes me anxious. You know, the anticipation. But the good news is that all the aircraft add-ons that are available today for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Oh my god, I'm discussing Microsoft Flight Simulator on my own channel. Oh my god. They will be available in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And please let me know which is your favorite one. Why did Russia invade? Oh my god. I don't know where to start. Apparently, they want territory. That's why they invaded. And also, as soon as gas sources were found in Donbass, Donbass got invaded by the Russian terrorists. That's another reason. Why do Russia invades? Why do maniacs do what they do? It's very hard to answer this question because you have to think like a maniac, and I cannot really think like Russian terrorists. It's beyond my imagination, really. But you know, those who support Russian terrorists and those who say that democracy is shit, those who say that you know, atrocities, everybody does that. Those people are dangerous because those people believe that everybody can commit atrocities and do the ugliest shit that Russia is accused of. Those people are dangerous very, very much, my friends. Are you taking bets when the Kerch Bridge falls? My friend, I don't, but I would make a bet myself if I knew the date. Can I sell communication headsets to your army? I'm jobless and I'm specialized in wireless communication in extremely noisy environments. That is a good question. I believe that you should find contact of some of the brigades, and if you know whatever voluntary or charity organization in your local area, in your town, for example, you can ask them. If they have contacts, please contact the guys, and if they need it, I believe you can do that. Absolutely. Would heavy gliding bombs help destroy the mines and fortifications that the Russians built? They are not very effective against mines, unfortunately. Fortifications, yeah, absolutely, but mines, not really. Not really. Demining requires absolutely different kind of equipment. How much time did you spend on Duolingo each day? I would rather not answer this question because it's very, very embarrassing. Unfortunately, not much. Unfortunately. But I will. Okay, guys, I don't really want to keep you longer because it's kind of late, especially in the European countries. Guys, thank you so much for Starsky. Have you ever? Oh my God, you just can't let me go to Kamenets Podilsky. I really, really wanted to go there. There's amazing bridge, amazing castle. Unfortunately, I never had a chance. Yeah, but favorite ice cream vanilla. Oh my god, Nathan, are you following? Are you stalking me? How did you know that? Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this format of this show fits you and you find it interesting. If you do, please let me know. If you don't, also please let me know. And guys, as always, thank you so much for supporting Ukraine. Thank you so much for supporting my people. I want you to know one thing. You know, if you ever supported Ukraine, it means that right now in Ukraine there is a person. It might be a kid, it might be a grown up, it might be a man, a woman, it might be anybody, but this person will see tomorrow because you helped Ukrainians, you helped our army, you helped our civilians, and Ukrainians will never forget this. They will never forget your kindness. Guys, you are amazing, and you will always be loved and respected by my people for what you're doing. Thank you so much for staying with me tonight. Guys, we'll see you later. As always, be safe and bye bye. Good night.